Change your life in 1 week, a journey of growth. Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to talk about the potential we all have to change our lives in just 1 week. I know it might sound like a stretch, but bear with me. The truth is, transformation doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out process. It doesn't need to take years. It can begin with a single decision and a week of intentional actions. We all carry with us stories, doubts, and fears that we believe define us. But I want to tell you something. Those stories don't have to dictate your future. You can choose to write a new narrative for yourself. You have the power to change the direction of your life, to challenge the patterns that hold you back, and to unlock the courage to become who you are truly meant to be. Over the next week, I challenge you to take small, brave steps. Every single day, choose to do one thing that takes you closer to the life you want. Whether it's letting go of fear, learning to say no, or finally setting boundaries, these choices will set the foundation for the life you deserve. It starts with you, your willingness to embrace discomfort, to rise above your insecurities, and to let go of perfectionism. This week is not about perfection, but about progress. It's about showing up as you are and choosing to take control of your journey. As we go through this week, remember it's okay to feel vulnerable, to feel unsure. Those feelings are part of the growth process. It's in those moments when we choose to move forward, despite our fears, that true change happens. Transformation is possible, and it doesn't have to be a slow or complicated process. Too often we get caught in the belief that significant change takes years of effort or requires some grand gesture. The truth is, transformation can begin in just a week. The key is not in making drastic changes all at once, but in taking consistent, intentional actions over the course of a few days. When we commit to small but powerful actions, we can start to shift the direction of our lives. You have the power to decide how you show up each day. The transformation begins with one simple decision, the decision to take control of your life, to make the choice to step forward rather than stay stuck. It's about waking up each day with a mindset that embraces change, knowing that you are capable of reshaping your reality. It's not about waiting for some external circumstance to change or for someone else to give you permission. It's about taking ownership of your own journey. And while it may seem impossible at first, the simple act of taking one small step in the direction of change can create a ripple effect. Every time you take action, you reinforce the belief that change is not only possible, but it's within your grasp. With each positive action you take, no matter how small, you will start to see that your life doesn't have to stay the same. In fact, you'll start to recognize that you have the power to shift it. It's not about waiting for a perfect moment to begin, but about deciding that now is the time to start. And when you take that first step, you'll realize that change can begin in an instant. We are not defined by our past. Often, we carry the weight of past mistakes, regrets, and experiences, believing they are permanent markers of who we are and what we can achieve. We allow these past narratives to shape our present reality and limit our potential. But here's the truth. The stories we tell ourselves about our past don't have to dictate our future. Every day, we have the opportunity to redefine who we are and what we are capable of. The past is just that, the past. It holds lessons, yes, but it doesn't hold the power to control the direction of your life unless you let it. Too many of us hold on to past failures or past hurts as if they are fixed points in time, impossible to move beyond. However, those experiences only have as much power as you give them. You can choose to let them fuel you, to use them as lessons for growth rather than weights that hold you down. The key is to stop seeing yourself through the lens of past mistakes and start seeing yourself through the possibility of what you can create today and in the future. We often fall into the trap of thinking that our past defines us because it feels familiar. It feels safe to stay in the narrative of who we were because that's something we can easily reference. But that doesn't serve us in moving forward. The truth is, your potential for change is always within you. The future is where you get to write your own story. You're not bound to the person you were yesterday, and you don't have to carry the weight of old identities or limiting beliefs. Each new day offers you the chance to decide who you are and who you want to become. And that decision is entirely in your hands. By letting go of the past, we create the space to step into a new version of ourselves. It's about freeing ourselves from old stories that no longer serve us and embracing the freedom that comes with creating a new chapter. You have the power to decide who you want to be today and in the future, and that power is not confined to the past. It's time to let go of what no longer serves you and open up to the endless possibilities that lie ahead. Small, brave steps are the true catalysts for big changes in our lives. Often, when we think about making a change, we envision a grand, sweeping transformation or a dramatic shift. We get intimidated by the idea that change has to be monumental, requiring huge effort or sudden massive action. But the reality is that lasting transformation happens gradually, one small action at a time. Every little step you take builds momentum and brings you closer to where you want to be. The beauty of small steps is that they are manageable. When we break down our goals into smaller, achievable tasks, we avoid the overwhelm that often paralyzes us. Instead of focusing on the mountain ahead, we focus on just one rock to climb, one step to take. Each small action, no matter how seemingly insignificant, contributes to a larger shift. Whether it's waking up a few minutes earlier, making one healthier choice, or taking a moment to practice gratitude, these are the things that begin to shift your mindset and behavior. These small steps also provide a sense of accomplishment, which fuels your confidence and encourages further action. The more you do, the more you believe in your ability to create change. The process becomes self-reinforcing. You start to trust yourself, and you begin to see that you are capable of more than you initially believed. Each step teaches you something new about your own strengths, resilience, and capacity for growth. With every small step, you are building a foundation for something much bigger. In addition to being less overwhelming, small steps allow for flexibility and adjustment. You can test new behaviors, reflect on what works, and course correct if necessary, all without feeling like you've failed or wasted time. It's about giving yourself permission to try, to experiment, and to adjust along the way. Change doesn't have to be a straight path. It can be messy and nonlinear. The key is that you're moving forward, no matter how small the steps may seem. These moments add up, and over time, you'll find that they've built something substantial. Ultimately, these small steps are the building blocks of transformation. They might not always feel dramatic in the moment, but their cumulative effect is profound. When you look back, you'll realize that it wasn't the one big leap that changed your life. It was the collection of small, brave steps that you took every single day. Embracing discomfort is an essential part of personal growth. Growth, by its very nature, involves stepping into the unknown and challenging the familiar. When we push ourselves beyond our current limitations, we experience discomfort, and this discomfort is often what holds us back. The idea of stepping outside our comfort zone can be intimidating, but it's also where true transformation happens. Discomfort arises when we face situations that are new, uncertain, or unfamiliar. It's a natural response to stepping into a space where we don't have all the answers or where we might not feel entirely capable. But what we often overlook is that this discomfort is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. The discomfort we feel when we take risks, try something new, or confront our fears is a sign that we're on the brink of growth. It means we are challenging the status quo, and that's where the magic happens. When we avoid discomfort, we remain in the same place, stuck in old habits and ways of thinking. We stay in the familiar, but we also remain stagnant. True growth requires a willingness to face those uncomfortable feelings head on. It's about recognizing that feeling uncertain or vulnerable doesn't mean we're failing, it means we're evolving. It's in those moments of discomfort that we are most likely to learn something new about ourselves, to push past the limits we've set, and to realize that we are capable of far more than we thought. It's easy to mistake discomfort for a sign that we should stop, that we're not ready, or that we're not good enough. But the reality is, discomfort is often a signal that we're exactly where we need to be. If everything felt comfortable, if there was no resistance, we wouldn't be growing. Growth happens when we challenge ourselves to face the discomfort and move through it, rather than retreating back to the safety of what we know. Learning to embrace discomfort is a critical skill for anyone who wants to experience lasting change. It's about reframing discomfort from something negative to something positive, a signal that we're on the right path, even when it feels hard. The more we embrace discomfort, the more we train ourselves to face life's challenges with resilience, patience, and courage. The truth is, the most significant changes in our lives often come from the moments when we were brave enough to step into the discomfort, knowing that it was part of our growth journey. Focusing on progress rather than perfection is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your journey of change. So often, we are paralyzed by the idea that we need to be perfect in order to succeed, to feel worthy, or to move forward. We set standards for ourselves that are impossibly high, believing that anything less than perfection is a failure. This mindset can be incredibly limiting and discouraging. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion, and it's progress that truly matters. Progress is about consistent movement in the right direction, no matter how small or imperfect that movement may seem. It's about showing up each day, taking one step after another, even when things aren't going perfectly. Perfection, by its very nature, is unattainable. It's a moving target that changes based on circumstances, expectations, and outside opinions. When we chase perfection, we often find ourselves stuck, constantly comparing our efforts to an unrealistic standard. Progress, on the other hand, is grounded in the present moment. It's about acknowledging where you are now and celebrating the small victories along the way. It's not about waiting for the perfect time to start or the perfect version of yourself to emerge. It's about taking action, no matter how flawed or incomplete that action may feel. Each step forward, no matter how imperfect, is a step in the right direction. And when you start to focus on that progress, the daily improvements, the small wins, the learning experiences, you'll find that your journey becomes more fulfilling and sustainable. One of the most liberating aspects of focusing on progress is that it allows room for mistakes, setbacks, and imperfection. When you let go of the need for everything to be flawless, you give yourself permission to fail and, perhaps more importantly, to learn from those failures. Rather than seeing setbacks as evidence that you're not good enough, you begin to view them as part of the process, as essential learning opportunities that help you grow stronger and wiser. When you focus on progress rather than perfection, you also create space for self-compassion. You stop beating yourself up for not meeting impossible standards and start celebrating how far you've come. It allows you to be kinder to yourself when things don't go as planned and to recognize that every effort, every action is contributing to your growth. Perfectionism often leads to burnout, frustration, and a sense of never being enough, but progress creates momentum and a sense of achievement. Ultimately, focusing on progress shifts your entire perspective. It moves the focus from what you haven't done to what you have accomplished. It reminds you that growth is not about reaching an ideal endpoint, but about continually evolving, learning, and improving. By shifting your mindset from perfection to progress, you free yourself from the pressure of being flawless and allow yourself to truly thrive. Every small step forward becomes a celebration of your journey, and that's where real transformation begins. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, something to be avoided or hidden, yet it is actually a critical element of personal growth and transformation. The truth is, vulnerability is a strength, and embracing it can lead to profound changes in our lives. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open the door to deeper connections with others, greater self-awareness, and the courage to step into new challenges. When we embrace vulnerability, we allow ourselves to be seen for who we truly are. Not just the polished, perfected version we present to the world, but the real, raw, imperfect self. This can be incredibly difficult, as it involves letting go of the fear of judgment, rejection, and failure. We fear being exposed, thinking that if others see our flaws and insecurities, they won't accept us. However, vulnerability is not about weakness. It's about the courage to show up and be authentic, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's about stepping into the unknown and being willing to risk failure, knowing that it's part of the process. Embracing vulnerability means allowing yourself to feel deeply, whether it's fear, joy, sadness, or excitement. It's acknowledging that being human involves a full range of emotions, and that these emotions are not to be feared or suppressed. Vulnerability encourages us to be present with ourselves and with others, to share our stories and experiences without the need to hide behind a facade. When we are vulnerable, we create space for connection because others can relate to our struggles and victories. It allows us to build relationships based on honesty and authenticity rather than on the surface level personas we often present. In addition, vulnerability allows us to push past our fears and self-doubt. It takes courage to step into the unknown, to take risks, and to try new things, especially when the outcome is uncertain. But it is in those moments of vulnerability that we grow the most. When we let go of the need to be perfect or to have everything figured out, we open ourselves to learning and experimentation. We give ourselves permission to fail, knowing that each failure is an opportunity to learn and evolve. Vulnerability is the key that unlocks our potential because it removes the barriers we've built around ourselves, the walls that protect us from discomfort, but also keep us from experiencing the fullness of life. Being vulnerable also means accepting that not everything will go according to plan, and that's okay. It's about embracing imperfections and understanding that mistakes are part of the learning process. The more we embrace vulnerability, the more resilient we become. We learn to bounce back from setbacks, to take risks without fear of judgment, and to trust ourselves to handle whatever comes our way. Vulnerability helps us develop a deeper sense of self-compassion because we stop seeing our flaws as things to hide, but as integral parts of who we are. Ultimately, vulnerability is a powerful tool for transformation. It allows us to connect with others in meaningful ways, to face our fears head on, and to embrace the uncertainties of life with confidence. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open up to new possibilities and we invite growth into our lives. Far from being a weakness, vulnerability is the foundation of courage, authenticity, and lasting change. The power to rewrite your story lies entirely within your hands. Far too often, we get trapped in the narratives that we've been told or the stories we've internalized over time. These stories are shaped by our past experiences, by the expectations of others, or by societal pressures, and they can limit our sense of what is possible. We believe these stories define us, that they set the boundaries of what we can achieve, who we can become, and how we see ourselves. But the truth is, those stories do not have to be your truth forever. You have the power to change them, to write a new narrative, and to create a future that is aligned with your desires and your potential. Rewriting your story begins with recognizing that you are not confined to the person you were yesterday. You are not bound by past mistakes, by the failures you've experienced, or by the roles others have assigned to you. Every day offers you a new opportunity to decide who you want to be and what you want to create. Your past does not define your future unless you allow it to. And even if you've made mistakes or faced setbacks, those experiences are not indicators of your worth or your abilities. Instead, they are lessons that have shaped who you are today, and they can guide you toward the future you desire. The first step in rewriting your story is to acknowledge the power of choice. You have the ability to choose who you want to become, regardless of your past. This isn't about ignoring your history, but about recognizing that you have the agency to shape your future. Every thought, every action, every belief that you hold is an opportunity to rewrite the story of your life. The stories we tell ourselves influence the way we see the world and the way we show up in it. If you believe that you are stuck or incapable, that story will dictate your actions. But if you choose to believe that change is possible, that you have the strength and ability to grow, you'll start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. Rewriting your story also means letting go of the limiting beliefs that hold you back. We all have internal narratives that tell us we're not good enough, not smart enough, or not deserving of success. These beliefs often stem from past experiences, messages we've internalized from others, or the fear of judgment. But these beliefs are not the truth of who you are. They are simply stories that can be challenged and rewritten. By questioning the validity of these beliefs and replacing them with empowering thoughts and affirmations, you begin to shift your perspective and open the door to new possibilities. Another key aspect of rewriting your story is learning to embrace your unique journey. We often compare ourselves to others, thinking that we should be on the same path or achieve the same milestones at the same pace. But everyone's journey is different, and that's what makes it beautiful. Embrace your path, even if it's unconventional or different from what you expected. Every twist, every turn, every detour is part of your story, and it all contributes to the person you are becoming. You are allowed to take your time to make mistakes and to learn at your own pace. Your story is yours to write, and it doesn't have to follow anyone else's timeline or standards. Rewriting your story requires courage. It means being willing to step away from old patterns, old identities, and old ways of thinking that no longer serve you. It takes bravery to face the unknown and to believe that a new chapter is possible, even when the previous chapters seem hard or filled with struggle. But in order to transform your life, you must first transform the way you see yourself. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are the author of your future. And every time you make a conscious choice to move toward the life you desire, you are taking a step toward rewriting the story of who you are. The power to rewrite your story is the most liberating gift you can give yourself. It's an invitation to step into your full potential, to embrace the person you are becoming, and to create a future that reflects your truest desires. It's a reminder that no matter where you've been or what you've been through, you have the power to change the narrative and create the life you want. The pen is in your hands and your story is still being written. The next chapter is waiting for you to step into it. Taking full responsibility for your life is a transformative act. Often we fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances, other people, or our past for where we are today. It's easier to point fingers and feel like victims of our circumstances, but when we do this, we relinquish control over our lives. The truth is, you are the author of your own journey, and you have the power to choose how you respond to the world around you. Taking responsibility is about owning your choices, your actions, and the way you react to challenges, no matter what life throws at you. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop playing the role of a passive observer. You no longer wait for the perfect moment or for someone else to make decisions for you. Instead, you recognize that every action you take or fail to take is a choice. You become empowered by the realization that you have the ability to steer your life in the direction you want. It's about recognizing that no matter what has happened in your past, you have the power to create a different future. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that's gone wrong in your life, nor does it mean carrying the weight of past mistakes or regrets. It's about acknowledging that while you may not be able to control everything that happens to you, you always have control over how you respond. The way you react to challenges, setbacks, and adversity shapes your life moving forward. When you take responsibility for your actions and decisions, you empower yourself to change your circumstances, rather than feeling helpless or stuck. Another important aspect of taking responsibility is letting go of the habit of complaining or making excuses. It's easy to get caught in the mindset of blaming others or making excuses for why we can't achieve something. But this mindset keeps us trapped in a cycle of inaction and frustration. When we take responsibility, we stop making excuses and start looking for solutions. Instead of focusing on what we can't control, we focus on what we can. The shift in mindset can be incredibly liberating as it moves us from a place of victimhood to a place of empowerment and action. Taking responsibility also means being accountable for your own growth and development. No one else is responsible for your personal growth. It's up to you to invest in yourself, to push past your limitations, and to take the necessary steps toward becoming the person you want to be. It requires self-discipline, commitment, and the courage to face the uncomfortable truth about areas in your life where you may be holding yourself back. When you take responsibility for your growth, you stop waiting for someone else to motivate you or change your circumstances. You become the driving force behind your own transformation. This doesn't mean that life will be easy or that you won't face challenges along the way. Taking responsibility for your life doesn't shield you from hardships, but it does give you the ability to navigate them with resilience and a sense of agency. Rather than seeing challenges as obstacles that are beyond your control, you begin to view them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Every difficult situation becomes a chance to learn more about yourself, to build resilience, and to develop the skills and mindset necessary to thrive. By taking responsibility, you also strengthen your self-trust. When you consistently make choices that align with your values and take ownership of the outcomes, you build confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. You stop doubting yourself and start trusting that you have the strength, wisdom, and capacity to deal with challenges effectively. This trust in yourself becomes the foundation for greater success and personal fulfillment. Ultimately, taking responsibility for your life is the key to unlocking your full potential. It means moving from a passive, reactive state to an empowered, proactive one. When you take responsibility, you take control of your destiny. You realize that no matter what's happened in the past, you have the power to create the future you want. Taking responsibility is about reclaiming your power, acknowledging your ability to change, and recognizing that the only person who can truly shape your life is you. Living with intention is one of the most powerful ways to create lasting change in your life. So many of us move through life on autopilot, reacting to circumstances rather than actively choosing how we want to live. We let the demands of others, our distractions, and our everyday habits dictate how we spend our time, energy, and focus. But when we live with intention, we take back control and direct our actions toward what truly matters to us. It means consciously choosing our path, setting clear goals, and making decisions that align with our values and aspirations. Living with intention starts with being clear about what you want. Without clarity, it's easy to drift through life feeling like you're constantly responding to external pressures rather than pursuing your own desires. To live intentionally, you need to take the time to reflect on what you truly want in life, what your deepest values are, and what kind of person you want to become. This isn't about following societal expectations or living up to someone else's standards. It's about tuning into your own heart and mind and identifying what resonates most deeply with you. Once you have clarity on your values and goals, living with intention requires making choices that align with those desires. Every decision, whether big or small, is an opportunity to move closer to the life you want to create. But it's easy to get caught up in distractions, to say yes to things that don't align with your goals, or to fall into habits that keep you stuck. Living with intention means saying no to the things that don't serve you, even when they seem appealing or convenient. It's about learning to prioritize what truly matters and investing your time, energy, and resources in those areas. Another important aspect of living with intention is being present. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle of life, constantly chasing after the next goal or worrying about the future. But living with intention requires you to slow down and be fully present in the moment. This means paying attention to what's happening around you, engaging fully in your relationships, and focusing on the task at hand rather than being distracted by external pressures or your inner thoughts. When you live with intention, you are intentional in how you spend your time and how you show up for the people in your life. Living intentionally also involves being mindful of your actions and thoughts. It's about recognizing when you're slipping into old patterns or behaviors that don't align with your intentions. Self-awareness is key to this process, as it allows you to catch yourself when you're about to make a decision that doesn't serve your goals. Living with intention means constantly checking in with yourself, asking if the choices you're making are leading you in the direction you want to go. It's about being proactive rather than reactive in the way you live your life. Being intentional also means setting boundaries. When you live with intention, you recognize the importance of protecting your time and energy. This may mean saying no to certain people or commitments, especially if they distract you from your goals or drain your energy. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. They help ensure that you are dedicating your time to things that matter and allowing space for rest, reflection, and growth. By setting healthy boundaries, you create the space needed to live a life that is aligned with your values and aspirations. Living with intention doesn't mean being perfect or having everything figured out. It means making a conscious decision every day to live in alignment with your true self and your goals. It's about taking small, deliberate steps that reflect your priorities and continuously course correcting as you go. Even when you face setbacks or challenges, living with intention helps you stay focused on your long-term vision, knowing that each choice, no matter how small, is contributing to your overall growth. Ultimately, living with intention is about being the active creator of your life. It's about being deliberate in how you spend your time, how you engage with others, and how you pursue your goals. When you live with intention, you step into your power, create a life that reflects your values, and align your actions with the vision you have for your future. It's a mindset that allows you to live a more fulfilling, purposeful life, rather than simply existing in a world full of distractions and external pressures. Living with intention means taking responsibility for the life you want to create and making choices that bring you closer to that vision every day. In the end, the journey to changing your life in 1 week is not about instant perfection or a dramatic overnight transformation. It's about making conscious, deliberate choices that align with who you want to become. It's about embracing the discomfort, focusing on progress over perfection, and allowing vulnerability to guide you through the process. It's about taking responsibility for your actions and rewriting your story, living with intention and recognizing that each step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you envision. Remember, change isn't a destination, it's a process. And it's in those small, intentional moments that true transformation occurs. So take a deep breath, trust yourself, and embrace the journey ahead. You have the power within you to create the life you desire. And today is the perfect day to start. Thank you.